All right, we back.
We're back. It's time for DeVal's favorite part of the show.
Yes.
Op or no op. All right, what we got today, Tribble?
Well, in the news in April, it was announced that the Academy, the Oscars folks, they are now requiring Academy voters to watch the films before they vote for them.
The key word that Tribble said, y'all, now.
Yeah.
They are now. So you mean to tell me this whole time people weren't watching all the films?
After 100 years, they did not require them to watch the films. They said they were basing it on the honor system. Of course, if you're in the Academy, you're a voter, you want to watch the films. But I think that a lot of the people in the Academy were maybe too busy making films or making money off of films to watch the films. So
Isn't that a conflict of interest, though? If you're making films, investing in films, and then you're not voting on films. So they were voting off of vibes. Vibes
pretty
and
much.
Wherever their money was. That's insanity.
Yeah, that's what I think Conan O'Brien said that. He was like, we vote off vibes in this country.
That's what he said.
We don't.
In this country, that's an absolute fact.
In every facet,
not
in
just
every
the
institution.
Oscars, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a quick opinion about it. We have to be more careful with who we give our standard of excellence, right? Because we provided them with the standard of excellence, saying that we all want to aspire to be that, only to find out that they didn't give a shit, really. They was just voting off vibes. So it's like this whole time for 100 years, we said this was the pinnacle of excellence.
Right.
Come to find out that they didn't even treat it as the pinnacle of excellence. But that speaks more to us. Why do we always say that their version of excellence
is what we aspire
to? So now I think no, because now for 100 years I got to look back at all of these films and be like, was that really the best film of the year?
Right. A lot of times it wasn't.
You see what I'm saying?
Wasn't.
A lot of times
so now
it wasn't.
It loses. The golden statue has lost in a lot of its gold now. Now it's bronze to me.
Yeah, you
it's
were just really watching what somebody else likes.
Yeah. It kind of lost it for me. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Is that I feel like, not only just for black creatives,
Facts.
for everyone, bro. Like, first of all, the people who vote is like 98% white. So automatically, they're not watching many films of color. Mm-hmm. Let's just be honest. So how do you vote for a film that you don't even watch? You just look at it and say, you know what? Meryl Streep was in this. I'll go there.
Meryl's kind of always solid.
Daniel Day-Lewis was in that one. Yeah, Tom Hanks, let me throw that there.
But by theory, that should work. But Steven Spielberg directed Color Purple, nominated 11 times, didn't win once.
Because it was called The Color Purple.
I know. That's what I'm saying. By theory, it should work by you seeing Steven Spielberg's name.
True.
You check off. Like, it's like, wait, that movie, nah.
So at least they read the synopsis. They might not have watched the movie, but they read the synopsis. And then that was when they chose.
My opinion is that it's fucking ridiculous.
My opinion is
that. Steps.
Josh?
I like that.
I got an opinion, and I like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Why can't cuss suck my teeth? Pause. On camera. Wait.
Next time.
My opinion is, here's the thing, right? We got doctors who prescribe prescriptions for us all the time. Can you imagine if they prescribe those prescriptions without even looking at our symptoms or whatever? Yes. This is equivalent to that. Just picking stuff just based off of, I feel like this today and I like this today, so I'm gonna just do this.
But I feel like they might do that already.
Doctors,
the whole medical market is based off of business, so it's you don't really need it.
What needs to be pushed? What's that new drug?
That is
who am I got
true,
my stocks in?
That's America.
Zempic.
So the Academy Awards is a microcosm of the United States, pretty much.
Absolutely.
I got you.
I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's everything.
They have a gold statue. We got an orange one.
We talked about this with Shador Sanders.
Shit.
Like, how do they choose who gets picked in the draft? Remember, we talked about with Shador Sanders. Like, what was the criteria? We don't know. They move the goalposts every time.
Every year.
So,
I mean, the draft's a little bit different because you're picking based off your personal needs as a team, like your team needs. It's a little bit different.
It is a little bit different. But I will say this: you are drafting with a purpose and also to send a message.
Yeah.
And you can also not draft or draft somebody to send a message.
True.
So, I think it's kind of similar.
Bring us home, Tribble.
Yeah, I like what you said about our standard of excellence being compared to somebody else. We're talking about code switching today. And for me, that brought up the biggest movie right now is Sinners. Mm-hmm. Ryan Coogler, one of the best directors. I think when I went to see Wakanda Forever, I made a video saying that somebody needs to give Ryan some pussy today and every
because
day.
it was so good.
Because it was amazing, and I hope that he's getting some pussy after Sinners came out, because it opened with $48 million. It only dropped 6% in the second weekend, which is a low drop for a horror film. But before the movie came out, there was a video of Ryan that was circulating online where he was talking about all the viewing options for the film. So it's the first horror film to be filmed simultaneously in IMAX and 70 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like 7 different viewing options, and he was talking about all of these technical aspects of film, but he talking like a nigga from Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he like, first of all, I want y'all to see what's happening. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how California dudes talk? Which to me, that was amazing to see a black man talking like a black man, talking about something that a lot of people don't think black men can do.
Yes.
So I want to know, do you have op or no op?
Man, that's a good one. The only thing I say, the only issue I have is the fact that, like you said, a black man speaking like a black man. Like, black men are not monolithic. And the only way I hate the fact that people relate blackness to where they grew up, which means, like, for example, he grew up in the hood. So it's like your blackness is only to the hood. Like, I'm from Brooklyn, which means that the minute I stopped talking like I was from Flatbush and I stopped talking gutter, I lost my blackness a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I'll push back on that. I think that there is a such thing as a black vernacular wherever you're from. White people from Brooklyn don't sound like you. So it's not that all black people talk this way. It's that nobody else speaks that way.
I disagree.
Because I wanted to ask, what's black vernacular?
Yeah, I don't know, but I know that slang that's used in New York. I know how your accent, it doesn't matter your skin or whatever. I know white people, I know Italian people, I know every culture that can sound like a real New Yorker from the hood. Don't matter what you look like.
I think New York has an accent. White people from New York have an accent, but it still does not sound the same.
Yeah.
As black
and I'm a
from
West
New York.
Indian from New York, so sometimes I sound like a mosh pit of things.
I think it's problematic when you say someone don't sound black, because then it's like, if I'm black and I speak how I speak, you telling me I don't speak how I look because I don't sound like the rest of y'all. That's projecting that I have to sound like y'all in order to own my blackness. That's the only thing I push back on. It's like, I wouldn't say he sounds black. I would say he sounds like he's from Oakland and he was born and he's from that area. But not to say he sounds black, I think that to me is the issue.
I think there can still be an eloquence around speaking like where you're from. Like, people can still understand you. So my thing with Ryan is, like, I think he's super brilliant. I think that he has amazing knowledge about this stuff, and I'm listening to him talk about all these different films, but it's sometimes just hard to understand what he's saying. And I never thought like, oh, this black man can't speak well. It was more like, I don't understand where he comes from, that accent. You know, I didn't equate it to miseducation. It just sounds like where he's from.
He's not eloquent.
Right.
Like certain people are eloquent.
Yes.
For example, you listen to Barack Obama speak, and you can just listen to him speak because the way he speaks, the way he puts words together, he doesn't stutter. He doesn't have long gaps in between.
Right.
He speaks, we studied oratory. There's a way you're told to speak in oratory classes in order to captivate an audience.
Like a cadence about how you speak. And Jay-Z, for example. Jay-Z speaks eloquently, I think, but he's from Brooklyn, and I could tell he's from Brooklyn.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't necessarily equate to
that's a good point.
Education versus where you're coming from. It's just like, Brian, sometimes it'd be like, Ryan, I want to like hit him on his back, like, Ryan, get it out, bro. Get it out. I can't. I get to the point, you know.
Who's the other filmmaker that's from Oakland? Who is oh my gosh, I don't know why it's escaping me, but my point is that everybody from Oakland doesn't speak like Ryan Coogler. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody from Brooklyn don't speak like DeVal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to put that on all black men, that if you get on camera, you have to sound like where you're from, or else you lose your blackness. That's just my only opinion.
Here's my pushback to that. You know, Tom Hanks' son, Chet Hanks.
Yeah.
Have you heard him do his Jamaican accent? And what would you say?
He sounds Jamaican.
Okay, so
he don't sound black.
But
Jamaicans are white too and Asian.
But he's not Jamaican.
But that's a poor example though. But you said he sounds Jamaican. You didn't say he sound like a black Jamaican.
What about, you've heard the rapper G-Eazy?
No.
You know the other white rapper, what's his name? The curly hair guy? If a white person came up to you and they started talking to you like you speak? What you wouldn't say anything? You'd be like, why are you talking black? Like, that's weird.
No, this is my thing. I think that that's often a projection from people. I never like to put on people that you sound black or you sound white, because I hated feeling like, growing up in Brooklyn, when I started to go to different schools, they would say you sound like a white boy. So part of me pushing back on that is also my own personal experience. It's like, you can't tell me I sound like a white boy because I don't sound like you. I'm black and I'm from Brooklyn. I sound how I sound. So my version of blackness sounds like this. And I just don't want everybody to put that on him like, oh, he sound black. It's like, no, he sound like Ryan. You know what I'm saying? There are black people from Oakland who don't sound like Ryan Coogler. And what we going to say about them? They don't sound black. That's the thing I want to push back on that. Blackness cannot be associated with one sound.
I would agree with you, but Ryan sounds black, bro.
Right. If he called you on the phone, you would be like, this is a black man on the phone. We know what sounding black means.
You would assume it's a black
We
man on
don't
the
think
phone.
that every black person has to sound a certain way, but we absolutely know that sounding black is a thing and we know what it means.
Once again though, right? We're talking about our experience. You put Ryan Coogler on the phone with a white person from Indonesia, he's not going to say that person sounds black. He's not even going to know what they're saying. That's what I'm saying. Everything we know comes from our perspective. So we know that he sounds black because we've heard black people around us. Other people around the world haven't heard all people from Oakland speak, so they wouldn't say automatically that he sounds black. We say it because we're black.
In America.
In America. I don't want to put that on black people. You see what I'm saying? What does an Indian person from Slovakia sound like?
What?
Exactly.
Where's Slovakia?
That's my point. What do they
Indian
sound
person
like?
can only be from India.
So within that country, there's dialects.
This is what I'm saying.
And there's
Does
accents.
anybody
And
here-
there is a such thing as a black dialect. That's what I'm saying. Like,
who?
To us,
But
to
hold on.
everybody.
Going back to your Jamaica example, there's some white Jamaicans I can't even understand more than some country
Facts.
Jamaicans I know. Like I
Facts.
grew up with.
And there's some
Jamaican's
white-
not a good example. That's not a good example.
You used it,
There's
though.
some white people that we know from Brooklyn that sound, I know what you mean, Triple, that sound like black people. For example, Black Brooklyn. There's a young man that lives on your block. He married the girl from your block.
I know you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. If I were to see
Sound
him,
like a brother.
seeing him coming
That's a
towards
problem.
me,
That's
he's
a
a white
problem that
dude.
we say that.
And then that's what we would say. He sounds like Deval.
What I'm saying is that's a problem.
It's
that
not
Agreed.
a problem if we own the fact that black culture is a thing. Black
Some people
vernacular
aspire
is
towards
also a
it.
thing that comes out of black culture. For instance, black people in Chicago have a very specific accent, and it is due to the culture of the Great Migration. A lot of black people in Chicago, their grandparents came from Mississippi and Alabama during the Great Migration, and so their accent is influenced by the Southern accent. So they sound different than white Chicagoans who have been living in the Midwest for a while or came from different parts of the country. That is a part of the culture. Black vernacular comes out of the culture. It's not a problem. I think that other people, if you grow up in black culture,
for you, this is op or no op. I'm saying that it's a problem for me that we are saying that this person sounds like a color. Like that is a problem. For me, it's a problem. Like I'm not saying you wrong. It's op or no op. My point is that I don't ever want my vernacular to be associated with a color. That's because think about it. If a white person were to say, yo, you sound like a black man, what's the first thing they're going to say?
That's a problem then.
That's a problem, right? So how come Tribble gets to say it?
No, I don't like it when black people say other people sound
That's
like
what
white,
I'm saying.
sound like white people. I hate it.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's problematic that we say that a person has to sound black or say a person sounds black. That's the wildest thing ever. What does blackness sound
it
like?
still happens though. People
But
say it, and I get it,
my
Tribble.
pushback
That's
is that it is true. Like people do sound like other ethnicities or other colors or whatever. You just sound that way.
I feel you. What I'm saying is that it's problematic that we say it. Just
agree.
because we say it, like for example, white people, black people say nigger, why can't we say it? Just because we say it don't mean that it's not problematic. That's my point. Calling somebody a nigger, calling someone a racial slur or a homophobic slur is a problem, right? But people say it, right? Don't they say it?
They do.
But it's still problematic, though.
How does that correlate with?
This is how it correlates. It's just because we say it doesn't mean that it's not problematic.
Okay.
Saying to someone like you sound black and giving someone's vernacular a color when we're saying that we don't want to be defined by our color is problematic for us as people. That's just my thing.
That's fair.
Like we can't say applaud Ryan Coogler for being a director, not just being a black director. Don't we say that all the time? Applaud him for being, for example, he said it. when he first came out with Black Panther, they kept saying that it was the greatest black, he was the highest grossing black director for that year, right? He was like, but I was also the highest grossing director for that year.
Ever.
But
yeah.
they kept putting black on it. You know,
and now they keep bringing up his deal. And he's in an interview getting pressed, and they keep talking about his deal. And
his blackness.
He pretty much was just like, I have some ideas as to why this is such a hot topic.
Right.
But I'd rather not speak on it.
Because he didn't want to bring race. So when black people bring up race, he sound black. It's like we want to be the only ones to be able to say, let's put his blackness on the forefront.
I guess to also celebrate the blackness in a moment like this.
But this is my thing, though. It's problematic for us
to always attach it.
To always attach it and then try to detach it when we want it detached. It's problematic because it creates mixed messages. We can celebrate excellence without celebrating. And this is why it's important that we talk about this going into code switching, right?
Yeah, we're already in the episode, guys.
Like, think about it. When
let's wrap up the op and no op. So
when I go into a company, right? And my excellence in that company, I don't want my excellence to be defined by my blackness. I don't want them to say he was the best black CEO we ever had. I want them to say, yo, he was the best CEO we ever had. We made the most money. We had the best growth. He treated people the best. The minute you make it about the blackness, then it takes away from the fact that I was better than all of the white boys too.
I can see that happens. Like even in pageantry, when I used to compete, if some young lady won and she was like the first black queen to win for New York ever, it's like they highlight that, like she's the first black, and then other blacks, we celebrate that because it's like, wow, for so long it was a string of white people winning, but the minute a black girl won, it was like it had to be celebrated. I get both sides. You want to celebrate it because it's like this is the first time something's happening for a black person that we can be proud of, but then also it's like she was just the best girl there that year, you know?
I feel you.
So
I feel you. Well, so I got a question for Tribble, right? Because you're super pro-black like I'm pro-black. If another dude came up and was having the same success as Ryan Coogler, say it was, who's another young black director right now? Salvin Naeem. Salvin Naeem. Yep, matter of fact, Jordan Peele.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say Barry Jenkins. Jordan Peele works.
Yeah.
What if he got up and just sounded like a Malibu white boy? Would it take away from his success as a black director? Whoever the director is, let's not even give him a name. Let's just say black guy from Georgia goes out and breaks all of these records, but he talks like, quote unquote, a white boy. He code switches. Mm-hmm. Would we then as a black community say, no, I'm not celebrating that sellout? Would we do that?
Some people do.
That's why it's problematic. There we go.
Childish Gambino. What's his real name?
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
He gets flack because he isn't, or he doesn't get celebrated as much, I think, in the black community because he's dated white women. He doesn't act like the typical black guy. Man.
That's right? Problematic for me.
I get it.
That's just problematic for me.
And I think he's extremely talented in many genres and many industries. So I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want Ryan Coogler's blackness to take away from his greatness. He should be celebrated in all of it. And then we should be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Now I will say this. As a brother, I felt like Tribble, right? Like, yo, he up there sounding like himself. Mm-hmm. But I personally was not going to, remember when I made my post about it? I wasn't going to make my post about him sounding like himself because I don't want to bring attention to that. I want to bring attention to his accomplishments, not his skin color. That's to me why I feel like.
Round this out, Trip.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, but I felt like we kind of went into the code switching.
Yeah, but you had asked her a question and she never got to answer it. So.
But I think what you said is kind of the point. You don't want your blackness to take away from your greatness. And the way that he speaks in his black vernacular as himself, not losing any part of his identity. He has braids in his hair. He's putting black identity at the forefront of the movies that he makes. Mm-hmm. That in turn allows his greatness and his blackness to work hand in hand. And I think that's the point of acknowledging the way that he shows up as his full self while being great in the things that he does.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with him showing up as his full self. Mm-hmm. I mean, y'all can have that point. That's y'all perspective. I don't got to agree with it though. Because I don't feel like I want my blackness to be always on the forefront of what I do. Because if you really want to occupy space, you don't always, it's the same thing with the LGBTQ community, right? And I spoke to one of my friends who you know, and he says he gets so tired that every time he goes somewhere, they make a point to say, here's this gay man. And he's like, why can't my greatness just occupy the space in itself? That's where I'm coming from with it. Why can't
I
my
get that point,
greatness
too.
just occupy my space in itself?
We would like that, but that's just not the
what I'm
reality of
saying.
the world we live in,
But
unfortunately.
how come black people keep doing it to black people? That's what I'm saying is problematic,
Yeah.
right? If we keep doing it to us,
Yep.
they're always going to do it to us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course
Agreed.
we can celebrate being the first black, but also let's just celebrate being better than everybody else. Yeah, I may have been the first black, but I also was just better than everybody else. Like, and all those people weren't black.
Right.
So it's like I was better than y'all.